I know them ain't sad tears. Them are tears of running unleaded gas very richly out of open header tears, because, well, that's how we roll. That I don't have no air circulation in my shop. Oh, my eyes burn. Okay, well, one of the reasons why it's important to fire your stuff up and kind of let it warm up, get some temperature built into it, is so that you can check for leaks. And, well, guess what? We found it. Something I'd hate to see leaking, because I spent a lot of money for it. That is our brand new Moroso oil pan. It's down there. I don't know if I can get in there to where you can really see it, or if I can even see it. Where are we at here? But kind of see my finger there, right around my finger, where you see it moving around at. The weld right there is leaking. Unfortunate. What makes it even worse is the fact I called Speedway already and talked to them about the leaking oil pan. I said, this is the 5th time I've had this engine in this car, and I bought this oil pan to avoid this exact issue. So, of course, I didn't get customer service. I just got some sales rep on the phone. So I'm gonna have to wait a few days to figure out what we're gonna do about it. I'm not loosening a single bolt. Matter of fact, I'm gonna proceed ahead to make sure everything other than that is buttoned up, just in case it's got to come back out again. You know, one thing that really sucks about being a one-man operation is sometimes you really need about 2 or 3 guys to have eyeballs and hands on different things. Right now, I'm back to square one of not having any clutch. Checked it, made sure it's moving in and out. It is. I don't know if it's not adjusted right, still got air in the line. What we got going on, so I'll have to wait and see until I get my wife or somebody out here that can work the clutch for me so I can actually bleed it. Timing set. Everything's about ready to go together, as far as I can tell, until we get it on the ground and can do some laps around the yard. It's really hard saying what else needs fixed. Like I said, we got an oil leak on our new oil pan. Everything else is dry around the car. I don't know, that Bald Eagle Corvette engine there, that sucker revs really quick, especially with the cam out of the 383, which originally was a 355. So it's the same cam that I've had for, I don't know, we ran it on that car up there as a 355 when I first got it. So if that tells you anything. Well, if you guys can notice, Intimidator isn't sitting in the same spot that it was. I got it out. I can officially say I somewhat test drove Intimidator on its own power. Still don't have a clutch, which led to another problem. Ended up running my air compressor over. Luckily, it's still operable. Ain't pretty, but it still works. But with having clutch issues, I'm gonna jack the car up. Hopefully I can still adjust it while it's in the car. So you've made it this far in this video, so I'm gonna throw this out there. If you haven't already, hit the like, subscribe button, subscribe, and share our YouTube channel out there. Our content is very much what you see here. Working on race cars, occasionally we go out and do some other adventuring, but majority of it is working on race cars or playing on tractor. But we also have TikTok. You can find us at Lad Racing 56 on TikTok. Then we also have a Facebook page, which is just Lad Racing. But our Facebook page is where I post quick updates. That's also the first place where I share our YouTube videos. But ultimately, I'd like you to subscribe right here on the YouTube channel and hit the like button here on the YouTube channel, because that really helps us out, get into the algorithms and all that other high-tech fancy stuff. And who knows, maybe one day we get big enough like Hunt the Front or Old Number 7 or Chase Holland, some of them guys, and maybe upgrade from running this redneck looking stuff here. Maybe get a little more professional looking. But ultimately, I want to keep everything on a lower budget for guys like me that are on a low budget. So we want to keep racing affordable, but we also like to grow. So if you could help us out, that'd be wonderful. Okay, let's slide up underneath her. Put our safety glasses on. Slide over here to the passenger side here. Get a light on. Give me just a second here. Got a little inspection hole. Ta-da! I got lights. And looking up in there, right there, you can see the throw bearing. I'd point at it, but I don't have a finger free right now. But either way, up against the pressure plate there, you see a little gray thing going into the bigger gray thing, into the bigger gray thing. That's the throw-out bearing setup, release bearing. And as you can see, it is pushed out up against the throw-out bearing, or the pressure plate a little bit. So what we got to do, move my light a little bit back here against the transmission side of things. We will drop the camera. There's bolts. You can't really see them, but there's nuts and bolts on the back side of that I can adjust out. By adjusting them out, it'll push the main housing or the throw-out bearing to the clutch. I thought it was adjusting when I put it all together, but obviously it ain't, so we need to make adjustments to it to hopefully get the clutch right. All we got on both sides are these little holes right here. As you can see, my hand pretty well fills that hole up. So we're going to try to adjust it with it in the car, because if we can avoid pulling it out, putting it back together, pulling it out, putting it back together, pulling it out, putting it back together, that'd be wonderful. So if you know, you know. So with our end cap issue coming off, I did find all the needle bearings for it. One thing that you can do that I learned, because this ain't the first time it's happened to me, is you take a little grease, like you can see there, take a little bit, put it on your finger, and I've already got some in there. You just take it, kind of wrap it in the hole, and it helps hold them in. Then you already got your bearings greased when you put it on, but we still need to grease the rest of them, but that'll come when we get ready to go racing. So. Okay, well, after about crushing my arm and everything else, we got our transmission out from the bell housing. This is our throw-out bearing, as you've seen in previous videos. Pretty much, there should be 4 shafts like this right here for it to slide or to set on, but for whatever reason, trying to get this throw-out bearing on 4 studs, for whatever reason, just wasn't working on this transmission. So what I did is I put 2 studs on, you know, opposite of each other, to kind of help stabilize the throw-out bearing, the hydraulic part itself. And before anybody comments, why don't you switch to a Bird or a Brent or something like that, lightweight transmission? Well, the reason is, 1, I'm cheap. 2, I have 3 of these sitting around. 1 needs rebuilt, 1 needs new seals. Obviously this one needs new seals because it's always leaked. I forgot what number I'm on, but we're going to go with 3. Having a 3-speed transmission like this opens me up to run multiple tracks, multiple classes. This engine setup, it really opens me up to a lot of opportunity. Now the triple disc clutch, that could be an issue, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Hopefully we don't get to that bridge, but that being said, we're going to stick with a 3-speed for, you know, as long as we're running this class. We'll stick with a 3-speed. If we decide to go back to a modified or some other class, we'll run whatever transmission's legal. So there's that. Okay, so what I'm going to do with the new stud, it's not one of the fancy ones like this. It's got an Allen head on it, so you actually screw it in. But I got it pretty well close to where that one is as far as putting it in. But I'm also going to take some thread tape and wrap around the threads on the bottom, because transmission fluid will leak out of it occasionally. That it'll work like a Loctite on it, where it's still able to get out, but it's not going to work its way out on its own real easy. The nuts, we'll end up putting Loctite on it once we get everything situated. So we're going to get this in here real quick and see what we can destroy, or not destroy, fix. Either way, you got it. Okay, so we were looking for about 1/8 of an inch with adjustment, you know, with doing this, and right there, just eyeballing it, that's about what we need. So we might just be good enough with changing the studs out and putting these stainless or zinc plated nuts on there. So hopefully all we gotta do is stick it up there and everything will be all hunky-dory, and we won't have to pull the transmission out and back in and back out. But hoping and praying this will work, because I think we're onto something here. Half tempted to put a little bit of a Hobart Loctite on these nuts, because they're barely on both sides here, but we're gonna hold off on that craziness right there, and hopefully this will slide on there, be perfect. We'll have working clutch, and we'll go ahead, at that point we'll go ahead and slap some fenders on here, get this thing to not look like a modified. Hopefully it'll drive like one, but we don't want it to look like one. You gotta fight with the fittings and all that. So one thing that I think was possibly causing an issue, not saying it was or wasn't, but possibly causing an issue, is the fact that I did not have an outer nut or anything holding the throwout bearing on. So what I'm kind of thinking after putting these on, that it was allowing the housing here to kind of push back a little bit when the clutch was engaging. I cannot confirm or deny that's the case, but it's a good theory. We're going to try to get this heavy sucker back up in there, and I say heavy, it probably weighs a good 70-80 pounds. So yeah, I've been there, done that numerous times. When it came out, it literally come down and crushed my arm. By the grace of God, we ain't on the way to the hospital right now to get my arm fixed. So we're gonna try to get this back up in there the best that we can and get things, put it back together, because, you know, like usual, we got places to go, things to do. You know, race car is like third on my priority list. You know, I got family, work, then a race car. Well, let me correct this. Pawpaw Hicks, he had it best on the back of his car. It was God, family, racing. So racing would probably fall number 4 in there somewhere. So we're gonna get this up in there. One thing that sucks about this particular transmission that I use is it leaks and it gets greasy and it is heavy. I can't say how heavy this thing is because I've never actually weighed it, but full of fluid, it is heavy. So getting it up roughly 1.5 to 2 foot off the ground and into its, you know, you got a hole that big, probably smaller than that you got to tightly fit that into, really becomes a chore. So my hands were greasy. The time it's all said and done with. Something, if you do not know, WD-40, if you got heavy grease on a car or got it on your hands or really about anything, you can use WD-40 sprayed on your hands and it'll loosen the grease up. I mean, I'm not saying to spray your hands before you go eat you a sandwich. That's what brake cleaner's for. But you can spray it, get the grease loose off of it. So if you need to grab your phone, you know, do something like that, you don't want to get something greasy, just spray it down real quick. And added bonus, I learned this from an old timer at a truck show back when I had Snowball and showing Snowball. You can use it for arthritis too. Don't ask me, I didn't come up with it. This old man come over, borrowed some WD-40 off me and was lubricating his joints. And by his joints, I mean his elbows. And he said it worked great for his arthritis. That's what his doctor actually told him to do, is spray WD-40 on it. So WD-40, multi-purpose use there. So okay, well, we got everything up in there. Check clearance. It looks like the bearing is, you know, not that far off of the pressure plate, which is about what you want. So what we got to do now is work out those little 2x2 holes, maybe 3x3, but we got to work out them holes, get the fittings back in for those things, the lines. One's for the bleeder valve and the other is the main line from the reservoir down. So we got to get all them put in before we can even think about testing the clutch. So then we got to get fluid in it, which ain't no big deal on that because I've got a system down on that. Ain't the best in the world because, well, the reservoir is literally right underneath here, and the only way in is through this little hole right here down to there to that reservoir. So I got something figured out on that and make that a lot easier. But enough talking, let's do some working. Okay, we've been sitting here pumping this clutch up, and what you hear there isn't the pedal itself, it is the throwout bearing going in and out, which is what we want. So what we're going to do here, we're going to make sure we're turned on back here. Got a little switch there. Gonna turn that button on. Gonna pump that many times. And then we're gonna push this button right here. First, we're gonna take it out of gear. Right there, lever. Okay, we got clutch. That means, in theory, all we really got to do to go racing is put the front end back on. Obviously, we're going to take the car out in the yard and get in even more trouble with the wife. She don't like it when I tear the yard up. But either way, we still got to go test it out in the yard, one way or the other. Next video might be a woodworking video on building a doghouse, because I'm pretty good at getting put in one, but I really don't have one. So that being said, we're going to close this video out, because this video actually went a lot longer than I wanted. A lot more in it than what I wanted to put in it. I was hoping fire up, test drive, put it together, and be race ready. But that's not our style. So, with that being said, we're going to close this video out. God bless you guys. Happy Memorial Day. I don't know if you can technically call it happy, but remember, It ain't about your barbecue or your swimming hole. It's about those that served and died for our country. So, God bless you guys. Stay safe out there. We'll catch you later.